Welcome to Joe's Astrology, and this is the birth chart for Greg Biffle, NASCAR driver who just died in a plane crash. And this chart is interesting, and it just goes to show you that it's really difficult to predict when a person is actually going to die. But let's take a look at some of the things here, because this isn't the easiest from my perspective. I don't know everything about astrology, but I'll talk about the what I do know. And just looking at this at face value, it was difficult to see, with my experience, to see that there even was a death. So we're gonna look. One thing I did notice is this Neptune here. Neptune can be correlated. We can correlate Neptune and say Pisces, the ruler, Neptune being the ruler of Pisces, with aviation. And we could also throw in Uranus. So according to Edward Jandro, a famous astrologer, in his astrological dictionary, aviation correlates with Neptune and also Uranus. And here we see Uranus there at 8 degrees of Libra, and Neptune at 29 degrees, critical degree, 29 degrees. Often when there's a planet at 29 degrees, there's something important that has to happen in the life. So first thing we can see here, okay, you have Neptune in the sign of death, Scorpio, 29 degrees. Could we just see based on that this person was destined to die in a plane? And then we can look at the transit here. The moon on the day of the death, I don't have the time. Also don't have the birth time. This isn't the correct birth time for Greg Biffle. But on the day of the death, the moon was transiting that Neptune. In the we can see the next sign there in the sign of travel, Sagittarius. So we can look at that too. Sagittarius being the ruling, or being the sign of travel. So obviously he was traveling. And then we can let's look at the aspects to Neptune here. 29 degrees. He has Mars. Mars, the planet that rules death. And that Neptune is making a 90-degree angle to Mars. And by the way, see some of the comments about sidereal and tropical. It really doesn't matter when you look at it this way. It really doesn't matter if it's sidereal or tropical. It can be done the same in this way. It's the same thing. So this we have a 90 degrees. A 90 degree, that's a harsh. We see a harsh aspect between Mars, the planet of death, and that Neptune that I talked about. We can look at Pluto. Obviously, Pluto is making an aspect to Neptune pretty much for everyone. But the Pluto is making aspects to his Venus and his Sun. Pluto, the co-ruler of Scorpio, would be the other planet of change, planet of death. Obviously, death is a major change. And then we can see Mars transiting his Sun. It's off by maybe a degree. It's also making a aspect to Saturn. It's making a trine, exact trine aspect to Saturn, the other planet of we could say the other planet of death. So we also see that Mars is involved with this Sun, and the Sun is in Capricorn. It's ruled by Saturn. Saturn is here making aspects, and Mars in the natal chart, Mars and Saturn are making a sextile aspect. We see here 5 degrees, 2 degrees. So lots of Mars and Saturn and Pluto involved as well. We come back to this Uranus that's ruled by Venus. See, Libra, Venus rules Libra. There's the Venus at 20, 21, 22 degrees. come back to that. Possibly, we see Chiron here. Chiron's at 2 degrees as well with that Saturn. Chiron, we think of being I wouldn't know if I would call it a malefic, but it's an asteroid. We could almost call it a malefic in this sense. If we look at what had occurred, something that's sad. Something that's sad, that's tragedy, a trauma. And we come back to this Uranus and we look at the Mars. Uranus and Mars can correlate with accidents. And it's almost in an exact aspect. Here you can see the green dotted line. It's an inconjunct. So we do see an aspect between the two planets that represent accidents when these two planets come together. And then obviously the Pisces, where I talked about the Neptune. The North Node is in Pisces. It's ruled by Neptune. Mars is there as well. And Mars, this node here, if we look at the chart as if it's actually alive and in motion, Mars is moving this way and the North Node is moving backwards this way. And it's in that Neptune here, Neptune ruler, 29 degrees I talked about. They're moving towards each other. So something in the life, something in the life that the person's moving towards is going to have to do with Neptune, Pisces, the destiny in a sense, and Mars, death. And then, as I said, the Uranus there, accidents. I mean, you probably could go deeper if you really knew the person and really got into their psychology. If you really wanted to, and they would be able to tell you a lot more about this chart. And then the astrologer will be able to delineate how that correlates to astrology. You can see the North Node here is at 12 degrees, moving towards that Mars. The Neptune is with Chiron, and Saturn is really close, moving close to Chiron as well. So I'm going to leave it there for now. If you have anything to add, feel free to add them in the comments. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.